and I'll keep mute. All right, mute yourselves, but turn on your camera. Michael loves to see everyone. So Michael Bernoff is the founder of Human Communication Institute. We found him last year, about a year ago, and he did a call for us and then a call to action. I look at Michael as an expert in communication. The tips that he gave on communicating, how to invite, he understands network marketing very well. And he has done a little bit of network marketing in the past. He also is on our products. He found out about our company of one of someone that went to his seminar and told him, I think she was a naturopath. She's in our business. I can't remember her name, but she told him about our product. So he has been on it, which I love. But he is just a phenomenal in personal development and in communication. I just love learning from him. And Mike had reached out to me, Mike Pokanen, and to see if we wanted to have him on again. And I said, well, yes, I'd love to talk about, it's a new year, talk about goals. And he said, we like to talk about outcomes. And I'm like, awesome. Outcomes are better than goals. So Michael has a lot to share with us today. I also attended his core, which is a 3-day seminar here in Arizona last May, and it was phenomenal. It was transformational. I know I told you all that I had done Date with Destiny a couple of weeks ago in December, and I find that core being live was so powerful. It was so amazing and so powerful. He also is an author. His book is Average Sucks. You should all get it. It's a phenomenal book. And he's the developer of what's called human interaction technology called HIT. And that is my next event that I cannot wait to attend with Michael. That one is a technology that allows you to understand the unknown psychology of unknown psychology that triggers and a powerful communication strategies so that can increase you can increase your charisma and influence, leaving average life behind. So I'm excited in the future sometime this year to attend that program with him, but I don't want to take any more time. I want to turn it over to Michael because I know he's excited to share with us all. And
I've been waiting. I've been ready all day for this, Maria. So I got to tell you, I appreciate the introduction tonight, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So how about, this is never easy to put on a training. I know I got a bunch of leaders got together, decided to be here. I know that Maria and Carrie, Pam, Michelle, Sean, a lot of people got together, and all of you folks, how about just give it up for everybody for this is what we're doing on a Monday. Everybody just give it up for ourselves. This is huge. A lot of people are at happy hour right now. They're drunk. They're doing what they're doing. And here we are getting high on life and finding a way to get this and these looking better for everybody and all kinds of really cool stuff the company has in store. So let me ask all of you a question. How many of you would love to have some fun tonight? How many of you want to have some fun? Would you guys agree some fun? I believe that goals that are fun, outcomes that are fun, makes us do them. And it's amazing how many people go, okay, now I'm going to work out this year. And I swear it's somewhere between they have constipation. How many of you know what I'm talking about? And they're going to give themselves an aneurysm, right? Because they're so like, I'm going to make this work. I'll get 3 people this month, right? How many of you have met people like that? I'm going to get 3 in the business. And versus, let's have some fun. Let's make a difference in people's lives, and let's share this incredible business with people. It has the most incredible opportunity, which has made, I am telling you, Maria, I have never met more people that are excited to spend hundreds of dollars a month on their health than the people you guys talk to. How many of you understand that? It's incredible because I meet with all kinds of companies. People like having trouble peddling a $30 thing that doesn't do anything. And here we are with something that makes people feel and look a little bit younger. How many of you understand that? You ladies excited? Gentlemen excited? So we're going to have a little bit of fun tonight. And my background is like very, very different than most people's. I am weird. Is anybody here weird? Like, just be honest. Is anybody weird? Like, I'm weird. Like, I'm into really weird things. Like, I have no interest. People are like, what show are you watching on Netflix? I'm like, I don't know. I have it for that rare occasion that maybe I may put my kid on it for like 2 minutes when I'm doing something, but like, I don't know what's going on with Yellowstone. I haven't seen the Tulsa King. I watched the Lion King. I don't know what's going on. What I'm interested in is something called people. What makes people do the things they do? Where do high performers come from? How do you become one? And more importantly, how do we make this be a reality and not a dream anymore? How many of you are sick of dreaming and want to start living your dreams? How many of you know what I'm talking about? Anybody catching on? This is really, really, really exciting. So what I'm going to tell you tonight is we're going to do a bunch of things. And before we get started, I want to tell you that I have a 21-year-old and a 10-year-old. And about 5 years ago, this word surfaced in my brain, FOMO. And I realized FOMO is a real thing, like fear of missing out. So I don't want anyone on your team to get what's called FOMO. So I'd encourage you right now, before I get into the goodies tonight, I believe your lines can handle more than 100 people, Maria. But what I'd like you to do is you grab that little link for like what we're on or the Facebook group and share how to get in here with your people you care about. So this is a phone, if you're not familiar with it, and you send a quick text message called promoting and letting the people on your team know crazy guy is on the phone showing us how to make more money and be more effective. I believe he's good at what he does. He's done over $100 million in sales himself and helped direct sales companies do over $1 billion in sales. I think he can help us. Okay. So that's just a throw out for you guys. I think that'll be helpful. Or the dude's funny as hell. He's hilarious. He's silly. Jump on. So I'm going to encourage you, like, send a text, send a Facebook message, and let's see if we can get three or four more people on. Not so I have more people to talk to. So tomorrow you don't have to explain what it is that we did. So how many of you are willing to do that? If you are, just be a little, it's okay to have a little ADD right now. I was meeting with a gentleman the other day. He's the #1 expert, Ned Holloway, on ADD in the world. And we talk about ADD. It's funny, he's the #1 expert, wrote Driven to Distraction. I'm a kid that grew up with ADD. And I said to him, I said, Ned, you know what I tell people? He goes, what? He goes, I tell people that if you don't have ADD, you should go get it. And he goes, well, what do you mean? Like ADD, like somebody like my kid has ADD, can't pay attention. No. Your kid can pay attention. Your kid has not learned how to pay attention to what you want them to pay attention to. For instance, people's goals. How many of you realize people with ADD are wonderful at attention? They're just not interested in what it is you're putting in front of them. So why I tell you that is we need to learn a couple of very simple things. If you want to achieve your goals or your outcomes in your life, how many of you recognize we need to master the art of getting our own attention regularly? How many of you are excited about getting that? Super focused. I'm excited about that. Number 2 is we need to learn how to lower the resistance that we have in our lives to getting what we want. Because in common sense, making more money, you couldn't really give me a compelling reason why an extra $3,000 to $10,000 a month in your life would be something that would be bad. So I'm just going to get my pen and paper out and I'm going to get a list. You tell me why having $10,000 extra a month would be a bad thing. I got my pen. I'm ready to write. Who would like to tell me? Just start typing. Okay, you can't come up with it. Okay. And the third thing is we need to become more receptive that opportunities show up in the things that we need to do. So I'll give you a little bit of my background real quick before we get started. There's a whole laundry list that Maria shared of what I do. And before I give you my background, I'm going to tell you a couple of things really quickly. A lot of people, and this is a really good lesson in life, they watch somebody do something and then they try to get better at doing it themselves. My dad, when I was a kid, this is probably one of the biggest lessons that I learned at 45 years old. I wish I would have learned at 5, but I learned at 45. And I remember my dad said when I was a kid, when you're playing sports and you see somebody doing something very, very well, you should do what they do. So it was my turn to play soccer, my turn to play hockey. And I remember standing there in line. And if you have kids, pay attention to what I'm about to share. And I remember watching somebody like a Maria, who's got a big team. She's being effective. She's doing great things. And I would go watch her and be like, that's what I want to do. I want to be like her. And then what I would do is I'd get up for my turn to go kick the ball or shoot the puck. And I would just try to get better. How many of you realize the shortcut to getting what you want is not to try to get better? It's to do what successful people do. How many of you understand what I just said? Does everybody get this? You are going to spend the rest of your life trying to get better. It is the worst way to get what it is you want. We need to do what the people do that have what it is that you want. So I'm thinking, if we're going to do some studying right now on goals, let's talk a little bit about my background and let's talk about some very, very important subject matter that's going to help all of you. If you haven't yet told your team to be on, you're definitely going to want to tell them to be here and then stay for the entire time, because there's 3 things I'm going to ask you to do while I talk tonight. Number 1, is I'm going to ask you to listen very carefully to what I say. My background is a linguist. I get hired by very high performance people to change 5 words in an email for them and make them tens of millions of dollars. I'm the person that gets hired by campaigns. You can put on the blank what kind of campaigns to get them on donations. I'm the person that writes things in a way to help people with major challenges, phobias, and different things, because everything in life is about the framing on how it works. So I'm going to ask you to listen carefully. Number 2, I'm going to ask you to pay attention to how what I say makes you feel. So some of you are addicted to like taking notes. I want you to take some notes tonight, but Maria's recording this. I'd rather you be present with me and watch it a second time and take notes. You know, you're not going to look at the notes anymore anyways. Like you have piles of, I have that over here. Here's my notes from Genius Network the other day, like my notes. I'm never going to look at this again later. I paid $25,000 to join a group. When am I going to look at this? Never. Okay, it's going to sit on my desk until my assistant comes by and puts it in that drawer over there. And I'll look at it in 8 years, 10 years when I buy a new cabinet behind me. So why am I telling you this? You can write down some notes that are important, but more importantly, pay attention to how what I say makes you feel. Because how many of you recognize when we speak in business, we have the ability to impact people on whether they're going to achieve or not? Do you know the way you bring people into the business and how you set their performance for them is impacting whether they do it or not? And I'm going to show you some stuff that's going to help you do it. And the third thing I'm going to ask you to do is let's talk tonight. Like we're going to open up the lines later. Like I'm actually going to speak with you. Like this is not like a bobbling head right now. Like I'm going to work with you guys in real time and make some really, really cool stuff happen. So what I'm expecting to see happen tonight is pretty simple. Number 1, I'm going to talk to you about the psychology of getting what it is you want. I'm going to also parallel it with what the biggest corporations they do in the world, where you become part of their goal and they get what they want and you don't get what you want. How many of you understand you are part of Facebook's algorithm to get your time and money from you, period? How many of you understand that? Everybody get that? Raise your hands. How many of you understand that? How many of you realize Netflix owns you and is having a relationship with you and your husband and your wife, because before you go to bed, you bring Netflix with you? How many of you know what I'm talking about? You can say you don't, but you got 3 of you in bed now, or maybe 4 of you sometimes. Maybe you're into that kind of stuff. You're bringing whole families in, depending on the show that you're watching. So what if I said they sit literally, they sit in a boardroom and they have meetings like we're about to have, going, how do I get these people to make us their goal? So when 8:30 rolls around, 9, when the kids go to bed, they think it's time to watch Tiger King. How many of you know what I'm talking about? They're doing that to you. And I want to teach you how to get your people to do the same thing. How many of you would love that power? Anybody want that? You're going to learn that tonight. Every single one of you. Super, super powerful. And then what we're going to do is I'll cover a couple of really important things. I'm going to explain to you why goal setting doesn't work for most people. I'm going to share with you a way to never talk about business opportunities and your products ever again, and literally get people hooked and excited about what's going on. Like how many of you would love a new way to frame this that no one in the industry is doing, so you never have to mention business opportunity again? And literally they're going to be like, I want to be part of that shit. How many of you would like them? Yes, I just did say shit. Okay. And sometimes people curse. I figure Maria said it's okay. I didn't ask, but I just cursed. Every once in a while people curse. It just comes out of my mouth. And people go, you shouldn't do that. Well, compared to what you said about how you looked in your jeans, what I said was nothing. Okay. How many of you realize we torture ourselves sometimes in the things that we say? So what I'm going to do is just cover real quickly my background. So my background is the neuroscience. I do the same thing, and I used to, but I don't anymore, work for the companies that a lot of us get bothered by. Like how many of you have ever thought to yourself, like, why is it that Instagram owns my kid's brain? How many of you know what I'm talking about? Anybody got this? Or TikTok? Or my brain is owned by something? Or like, why are they so interested in playing these games? Well, the reason they're interested, instead of being mad at these companies, what if I said the reason people are obsessed with these companies and obsessed with watching these things is they're very, very exciting, and you're boring mom? How many of you understand that? Does everybody get it? See, if every time they got a Netflix goes, so how was your day? They would say good, and they'd never watch it. But that's not what they do. They put on a show, they put on a performance, and they make it fun fun. How many of you recognize if your LifeVantage business was more fun and the way you went about it more fun, how many of you recognize more people would get involved, period? Anybody got that? You got to make it fun. So I want to talk about how to get what it is we're looking for. So let's just play a little game here real quick. How many of you have ever gotten teammates very, very excited about the opportunity that this offers, just to have them run away and disappear somewhere between 1 minute to 3 weeks later? Raise your hand if that's you. Raise your hand. I want to see them. And if you're like perfect at this, like I think we got some liars here. Like some of you are like, you know, I see you. I know you're there. Okay, Linda, you can raise your hand. You know, people have run from you. You're not a bad person. But the point is, how many of you have had that occur? Anybody ever had that? Okay, here's why. Getting people excited about the opportunity. What happens is this. When somebody gets excited, you give them a dopamine rush. And this is where most people set their goals. They're in a very peak state. They're super excited. They're super turned on. They're super ready to go. They're ready and excited. And what happens is they stay excited for about 45 minutes to an hour. And eventually it wears off and the feeling goes away. How many of you realize if your motivation for your business is I'm going to get excited and I'm going to get passionate, you're building your business on fumes? The same thing you feel from Starbucks. Like how many of you have been to a Starbucks line? You got in for 45 minutes. You stayed in the line for 45 minutes, however long it took. I don't drink Starbucks. Why? Because it's economic suicide. How many of you understand that? What the hell are you drinking a $7 coffee for? I buy stocks. Okay. I got tons of stocks. You buy Starbucks, I get rich. How many of you understand it? I'm happy you're buying it. I buy stock in Starbucks, but I'll never buy the damn coffee. Do you understand why it's $7? Why would I do? I buy $3 water. Okay. But I don't buy $7 crashes. So do you realize that if you call your team and you get them fired up, don't you know how great these products are? Oh my God, it's amazing. You are getting fired up. You're using all of your dopamine, getting so fired up. You get off the call, like, oh, you say to your husband or wife, oh my God, they're going to do it this year. They're going to be great. You know what they do when they get off with you? They're exhausted. They go take a nap and get on Netflix. How many of you understand what I'm talking about? We have to stop trying to get people excited. Do you know getting someone excited about the comp plan is only going to scare them? Do you know even talking about the comp plan is going to scare people at the beginning? We need to talk about things that make sense to people. Like I used to say to people, how exciting would it be if half your mortgage is paid every month? Would that be exciting, people? How many of you think that'd be pretty cool? Wouldn't it be great if half your mortgage is paid every month and the other half you spent on anything you want? LifeVantage can do that for you. How many of you think that's not exciting? That goes a little deeper than that. So the second thing is I realized that people are motivated by one of two things, either being really excited about something or being scared if they don't do it. How do I know? Around the 27th of every month, you become a superhero because you're about to hit your quota. And instantaneously you look in the mirror and go, I said I was going to do it. I have to figure it out. And the fear of not making it work does it. And you produce. And on the 31st of the month, you're doing your, yay, we did it. Just to redo it again next month and to drive yourself on the 27th. See, this is how most people are driven, by scaring the hell out of them. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years if you don't continue doing what you're doing today? Or you say to yourself, would you like to be rich and happy and famous? Or would you like to be in better shape? And this is the way we have been setting goals in direct sales for decades. I want to really, really, really share with you the secret weapon. And I have, Maria, a years of additional experience on this, sharing this with my daughter and using this in my life and helping her with her goals. So I use the same techniques that I'm going to use with you that I use with her. It started off where she went figure skating her first time. I remember Maya went to her first competition ever. I said to my daughter, I said, Maya, you go out there and win. No different than telling somebody to become an upside down, double flick diamond commando with rubies on top. How many of you understand? They have no idea what you're talking about. How many of you have been around the industry long enough to know what that meant? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Anyone been around the industry long enough? Yeah, we're laughing. Okay. But the point is, when I told her that, my daughter looked at me like this. Okay. You're my dad. I guess I can go win. Never been in a competition before. Do you realize the majority of the people you bring into this business have never done this before? And you're telling them to be good at it. It's like me looking someone in the eyes and saying, you have brown eyes, make them blue. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. We're not going to get them to do what they need to do. So our job as leaders is to and if you're, how do I know you're a leader? You have people on your team. You don't have people on your team. You're a leader instantaneously whenever you care about people and you're interested in bringing them in, getting them involved with the business. So let's play a little game here real quick. Let's play a little game called unmute someone. So who's never worked with me before? Raise your hand. I'd like to unmute you real quick. We're having a little bit of fun. We're going to learn. We're going to do coaching. Who would like some free coaching? It's funny. When I charge $50,000 for coaching, they got questions. When I do it for free, nobody's got a question. So let's take Lisa Guess. Lisa Guess. You're unmuted on row 2 on the bottom. How you doing, Lisa?
Great. How are you?
Great. So where are you from, Lisa?
Prescott, Arizona. That's where I live
I'm
right
from
now.
Arizona too. I live in Scottsdale. So
Okay.
let me ask you a very, very simple question, Prescott. How long have you been involved with the business?
2 days.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here. You learning tonight?
I am. Yeah.
I bet you're excited to talk to people about the products. You haven't got the products yet? This stuff works great. I've been on it for 2 years.
Yeah. I got him yesterday.
Okay, great. So did you actually get it yesterday or you got it yesterday?
Yeah. Well, no, yesterday was Sunday. Saturday I got them.
Well, I'm just going to kill the word actually, because how many of you the word actually means I'm surprised? We did get them. How many of you recognize we want to get rid of the word actually in our vocabulary? I actually made a sale. No, you made a sale. So anyways, let's have a little bit of fun here right now. So what are your goals for the business?
My goals.
Okay, stop. How many of you recognize I just showed you your plan
Yes.
was never going to work when you bring Elisa in, because she's going to go, rah! So I'm going to teach you something real quick. So if we ever want someone to set goals and we ever want them to be effective, ourselves and other people, because how many of you realize we're in the business of teaching people how to get what they want? How many of you understand that? That is our job. You guys get it? That's really what it is. Maria, if she's doing anything, she's not peddling drugs. Okay. What she's doing is she's teaching people how to get what they want. So in the state of mind you're in, you don't exactly even know the potential of what's possible, do you?
I have no idea, but I think I get extra points for being the first person.
Okay.
To
So let me
be
ask you a
unmuted.
question real quick. You have kids?
No.
Okay. You have a team? What do you do? Like, do you have a job?
Yes.
Okay.
I am an educator. I'm an adjunct professor.
Awesome. So you have children that you oversee.
I have college students, and then
Those
I'm
are
an
children and
esthetician
adult
as well.
clothes. I totally get it. Okay. And I'm a child and adult clothes too. So have you ever seen anybody do a good job and tell them you're proud of them?
Sure.
Yeah. And when we tell people we're proud of them, what a lot of us don't realize is when we do this, I want you to pay attention what this has to do with getting the things you want in this world. And I want you to pay attention. When you tell someone you're proud of them, here's what happens. When you tell someone you're proud of them, instantaneously, we play the Pavlov game. We get them very, very excited and we tell them we're proud of them. Like, really, you're proud of me? And we give them a hit right to the brain of something called serotonin, the feeling like they did something really good. Now, I'm going to tell you why this is important, what I'm going to do here in a couple of seconds, and what this has to do with getting what it is you want. Is a very simple little outcome that I'm going to share with all of you to help all of you out. Is number one, when serotonin lasts for 2 to 5 weeks, the feeling, if you give it to yourself, it's no different than if somebody shoots you up with something versus you shooting yourself up. So for years, I would walk around the earth and I'd say, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. And about 3 years ago, I started saying these words. You should be proud of yourself. And I want that to sink in for just a second. If you tell someone that got a good grade on a paper or closed a sale, you should be proud of yourself. How many of you recognize they then realize they did the good thing? You're not noticing it and telling them they did the good thing and they feel proud of themselves. How do I know this? With my daughter, I've been saying it for years. Maya, great axle. You should be proud of yourself. Maya, great this. 38 gold medals last year. The other day, my daughter came up to me because she goes, I had the greatest practice the other day. I am so proud of myself. How many of you want an entire group of people that are proud of their achievements? How many of you understand that? Does everybody understand what I'm saying? We need to change our vocabulary. So I'm going to do this right now so you can see it in real time, Lisa. Lisa, you should be proud of yourself that you knew that you wanted to change your finances and you're doing something about it.
I'm proud of myself.
You really are, aren't you? And I want to
really
commend
am.
you that you're here, because most people bitch and complain about wanting to change their finances. And here you are doing it. Does everybody understand this? Look at her. She goes damn straight. Do you guys get it? Like, I know she didn't say that out loud, but she said that out loud. She's like, damn straight. Look at her. She's like, I'm in. You're 2 days in the business and you're excited. So us as leaders, we need to sit down with people before we talk about our goals. And we need to say, listen, you should be proud of yourself that you're even having a goal setting conversation. How many of you understand that? But I'm going to teach you how to override the brain, all of you right now, so we can be very, very effective. So when I sit down with somebody, and I shared this about a year ago, Maria, with the team, and I'm going to say it a little differently. About a year ago, I'd say this. So who's been in the business, never worked with me, doesn't even know me, and been in a little longer than her, like maybe a year, maybe 6 months? Like, raise your hand. Let me talk to that person. Who are they? Let's get them. Who's this? Okay, Angel Lotus, you're up. Angel, unmute yourself. Very good, Angel.
Fantastic.
Are you having fun tonight? Because I'm having a blast. I mean, I'm
always
having a lot of fun.
Thank
So
you.
I got people cracking up. I got Captain Jack laughing right there. He's getting Jack, and Jack will get you high tonight from Billy Joel, right? I make him laugh. So Angel, how long have you been in the business?
5 years.
Great.
I've
So,
been in the
what's the first thing
industry
you say
for
when
10,
you
but I've
sit
been
down
with
with someone?
Life for 5.
What's the first thing you do when you sit down with them? Someone to share the opportunity with them.
Ask me that again, pardon me.
I'll say it in slow motion. Are you Canadian? You said, pardon me.
No, I'm
Okay.
Minnesotan, pretty close.
It's almost Canada. Like you might as well just accept it. It's just one street away. But I'm a hockey player, so I can say that. How many of you think I'm having fun tonight? Anybody think I'm having fun? I'm having fun. How many of you realize if you have this much fun in your business that you just pick these things up and throw them all over the place, you will have more fun? He's crazy. I'd rather be crazy and rich than really, really boring. So the point is, let's play a little game, Angel. So, Angel, when you sit down with somebody and you're about to explain the business or the product to them, what are the first words out of your mouth?
Are you open to an opportunity?
Now, let me ask you a question, Angel. How many times have people heard that one before?
Or do you keep your options open for?
When I was a kid and I went to the Chess King at the mall and I wanted a pair of Cavaricci pants and I just dated myself. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Cavaricci pants.
True.
And I remember walking into that mall, $90 jeans in 1988. And I remember walking in and they said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "No, I'm just looking." I really did want a pair of the pants, but I just automatically said, "Just looking." Yeah, this is Z right there, Julie, you got it. But the point is, why am I saying this to you? I'm saying this to you because we've got to do things different if we want a different result. And if you ask people if they're open to an opportunity, they've heard that from everybody since 1965, since Amway. They've heard that in Herbalife. They've heard everything else. So we need to sound different to get a different result. Do you know why they put the sex scene before the murder scene in the shows? Because it takes you off guard. And then you know what happens? Sex scene, murder, sex scene, murder. It's the same thing all the time. But if it's just murder, 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 it's not as exciting. Now she's blushing. But the point is, why am I bringing this up? So if I sit down with you the first time, one of the first things I'd say to you is these simple words. I say, "Listen, Angel," you can unmute yourself. Come on, unmute. I say, "Angel, I want to commend you in advance for even setting up this meeting. Most people never do something like this. You should be proud of yourself." I bet you want to write that down, don't you?
Yes.
And what's fascinating when you say that to somebody, they're receptive. So what if I said, before we talk about getting people what they want, it's about being receptive. So I'm going to share with you something super, super cool that's going to help all of you out. So how many of you would love to get more people enrolled in this business, but not have to talk about the business side? How many of you would like that? So what I'm going to tell you is this. I'm going to tell you something, Angel, real simple. So I'm sure you're doing pretty well. You've been in for 5 years, you're doing stuff, but you could always do better. Correct, Angel?
Always.
Always. So tell me about the business opportunity. You could just talk about it for a couple of seconds. We got the lady, she's been in 2 days. Tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, okay. So I always like to touch people's hearts and see where they're at and what makes them.
All right, well, let's skip all that. Okay, let's just do it a little bit better. How about we don't touch their hearts? How about we drug them no different than we drug them with feeling good? We drug them with love. We drug them with connection, and we give them what they wanted. How many of you are into drugging people? How many of you know what I'm saying? If you don't believe me, we're drugging people all the time. Do you realize, how many of you realize you drug people with boredom? Anybody get that? You drug people with overwhelm. You drug your kids with your anger. You drug your kids with fear. So we might as well drug people with the appropriate drug. So the most powerful drug we have is something called oxytocin, which is connection. So watch this. Watch me do this. Watch my hands. If you're looking for a business opportunity, that's not what we do over here. That's not what we do. If you want that, you can go find one on the internet.
Okay.
Now they're like, what the hell is it if it's not a business opportunity? That's what's going on in their head. And then I say this, we're actually not a business opportunity. We're a community of individuals who are committed to assisting each other financially and health-wise. We represent a company which has the greatest health products in the world, and we work together to help each other achieve each other's goals. How many of you recognize that sounds a lot better than a business opportunity? Raise your hand, mind blowing. Anybody catching on? So I'm going to help you. Well, Michael, sounds good for you. Here's my recommendation. Say it 7 times, and on the 8th time, you're going to sound really smooth. So we'll do it in slow motion, so you got it. If you want a business opportunity, go on the internet. If you're looking for a community of human beings that have no judgment, that support each other, that help each other grow financially and health-wise, that represent the greatest health products in the world, some of those revolutionary products in the world, that is what LifeVantage is about. It's about changing your lifestyle and putting you around incredible people. If all you want is a business opportunity, you got the wrong person to talk to. How many of you realize the value of it just went through the roof? So why am I telling you that? Whenever we talk about this with goals with people, one of the things I recognize that we need to override is we've got to override the mechanism that's inside of us. And we have to override the mechanism that most people miss. And the biggest mechanism that most of us are dealing with is whenever we help people get the things they want and achieve the things they're looking for, one of the things that we run into is people saying, tomorrow's going to be the big day. Tomorrow's going to be different. Tomorrow I'm going to get what I want. And the challenge is we tell people to take things one day at a time. How many of you have heard of take things one day at a time? How many of you have heard that? And what happened last time you took it one day at a time? You did it a day, maybe 7. In 5 days, you quit. So we've got a new technique that we teach inside of our company called take it 2 days at a time. Anything that you're going to do, you can do for 2 days. And on the second day, if you like it, you can do it for 2 more days. What if I said achieving what you want has less to do with the goal that you set and is how you go about getting what it is you want? You've got to find a way to be proud of yourself regularly. And if you are, you will then have the courage to get what it is you're looking for. Goals are only limited by your imagination. My mentor up there is a guy named Jim Rohn. And when those guys took me under his wing at 19 years old, and Jim was one of my mentors in life. And Jim used to basically say, you're only limited by your imagination. The question is, how do you imagine yourself? And the majority of us, our imagination is getting in the way of what it is we want. So I could show you, like I told Maria, I can have you write down 5 things you're going to do. And I'm going to bring in 3 people. I'm bringing 8 people. I'm bringing 12 people. I'm going to bring in 15. I'm going to sell 35 people in the product. I'm going to triple my volume. I'll be on stage next year. It's so cute that you say that. But 97% of the people that say that, they don't achieve it because they don't understand the psychology that's going to take to break through what it is that they're dealing with. So I'm going to share with you the next 2 things that are going to help you break through this. And part of it is we're going to have to communicate differently with what it is that we do. So how many of you have ever felt that you stopped yourself short of your greatness? How many? I'll raise my hand first. How many of you have done that? Okay. What if I told you you're going to be doing that the rest of your life? It just depends how far you want to be from the wall. I guarantee that every one of you have to accept that we're not getting any younger and you're going to have to choose what type of life that you want to live. Like I've picked out my tombstone already. It's beautiful. Here's what it says. It doesn't have my name on it. It doesn't have my name on it. It doesn't have father on it. It doesn't have husband on it. It says all used up, nothing left, did what he was supposed to do while he was here. How many of you would like that tombstone? Anybody want that one? All used up, nothing left, did what they were supposed to do while they were on the planet. So if that motivates you, I want to tell you that is the desire that we've got to get. Most of us, the reason we don't achieve the things we want is our goals are impotent. They're boring. They're simple. When I read the book, The Greatest Miracle in the World years ago, I didn't realize what my mission was in life was to wake people up, to get them excited. How many people can I get not into this opportunity, not into our club called Life Vantage? How many of people can I get to believe in themselves and to do something about it? How many of you realize that is our goal for this year? How many people can I get to believe in themselves and do something about it? So I'm going to show you some very important stuff. Some of you have worked with me before. Some of you, I'm excited. I'm going to finally see you at CORE in April. Maria, I'm excited because they couldn't come last time because you had convention. Sorry, I scheduled the same weekend you did. I apologize, but I'll see you in April, which I'm excited about. And I realized that I couldn't figure out years ago, what stopped most people from succeeding. Because I realized a lot of things in my life were I had that feeling I'd get to the edge of a diving board and it was I'd look over the edge. I climbed the whole thing to jump, but then I stared. Or I got to have a tough conversation with my wife and I go, how many of you have had that before? You want to tell your husband what you feel or your wife what you feel. You go, nothing comes out. Or you got a thing that you need to do. And it's just you're about to everything's great in the presentation, time for ask for the sale, but you don't do it. Do you know why most people don't ask for the sale? Because they're not willing to risk the current relationship they have for the one they can't have. How many of you reckon it's all going great? They like me. I like them. If I ask for this, they may not like me. Your desire to be liked is keeping your bank account the size it is. How many of you realize I don't want to be liked? I don't really care if you like me at all. That doesn't matter to me. I like me. How many of you understand that? I love me. How many of you realize if you loved you, it really wouldn't matter if they liked you or not because you love you. I'm going to have to live with me a lot more than I got to live with you. Okay. So the point of why I'm saying this is I want to show you what gets in the way of getting what it is you want. So years ago, I couldn't figure out what this was. And then one day it dawned on me that all of us are living in a psychological predisposition that we create for ourselves that stops us from getting the things that we're looking for. I'm gonna get back to the goal setting here in a couple seconds, but it stops us from getting the things that we want in our life. And what it is, it's called outdated programming. Can I tell all of you that you are programming no different than a VCR? Back in the old days, I just said it VCR because I'm from the 70s. And you are programmed to have 2022 all over again this year and pretend you're not. How many of you recognize, be honest, you think I'm kidding? Because, and I'm just being honest, you are programmed to have what you had last year. How do I know this? I'm not being negative. Well, Michael, that's not fair. How can you say that? Yeah, because 21 was about the same and 20 was similar and 19 was about the same. And we have this thing that we do where we keep on doing the same things over and over again, and we want things to be different. How many of you would like to take control of your growth? Put a yes in the box, or literally get involved with me right now, or raise your hand. How many of you want to get control of your growth? Okay, here's how you control your growth. You figure out who the gatekeeper is in your life. And the answer is it's you, but you've got to recognize how to do this. So I'm going to tell you a little story here real quick. I believe that somewhere in your life, there was a moment where you decided your future. And it wasn't because you were having a good day. It was because you were extremely pissed off. How many of you understand what I'm talking about? How many of you realize we make more decisions in our pissed offness than we do in our excitement? I want you to remember this. So you got to stop trying to tell people how great the business is. We got to go find pissed off people that want to be happy. How many of you understand that? How do you find pissed off people? Go on the internet, okay? Or walk outside. They're everywhere, okay? Go to a bar. They're not thrilled, okay? That's why they're drinking. But the purpose is we get to a point in our lives where they say these words, never again. I want to tell you, every person you're dealing with, I'm going to show you something tonight. We're going to be like, dude, that is so genius. And then I'm going to show you how to use this where you can walk into any business setting, any sales setting, any B&I meeting, anything you go again and go, got it. This little tool that I have, these 4 things, when manipulated correctly, can open someone up to be willing to change their life, to become somebody as incredible as Lisa Guess, who instantaneously winds up 2 days in, changing her life and being here. We got to give it up for her for even having the courage to be on still with this crazy Jersey boy. Okay. So how many of you have said this before? Never again. I will never, ever, ever, ever do this again. How many of you have said that over a toilet bowl? How many of you have said never again over a toilet bowl because you drank too much or food poisoning? So we say to ourselves, never again. I don't know, Maria, if you were in another direct sales company before this, but how many of you have been treated bad by an owner of a company, had your heart ripped out and said, I will never again, just for look for another opportunity 2 weeks later? How many of you know what I'm talking about? I don't know, ladies here, how many of you have said never again with a guy and still went back for 3 more rounds? How many of you know what I'm talking about? Ladies, you know, because you didn't never again, but one more time, right? So we say to ourselves, never again. And I'm going to draw this on paper. So when you're dealing with people, I believe that there are people that literally in their brains, they have limits. Here's where our limits are created in our life. Never again. Now, I shared this before, Marie, you've seen this, but you got to use it. We've got to use this because this is how we get the things we want in our lives. We say never again. So while you're stoned in your never againness, you're like, okay, I don't want that, but what do I want in my life? And without thinking, you're like, okay, I want 6 figures. Who came up with this? Was that a tagline? Like, why did nobody say I want $8,600 a month? That's 6 figures. Why aren't we clear? I want 7 figures. I want this. Like, we just come up with random things because we want to not be where we're at. So what happens is, this is most people's conversations. I want this. I don't want this. I want this. I don't want this. I want this. I don't want this. Where I'm from, we call that bitching and complaining. How many of you know what I'm talking about? I want this. I don't want this. I want this. I don't want this. And as we bounce our heads between these, and we never actually get them. So do you realize every person you meet with has a list of wants and don't wants? How many of you understand that? That's what they got. So we've got to tap into this, and we've got to realize this is the cheapest form of goals. So the cheapest form of goals is, what do you want? And they tell you, and they get excited, and you get perfectly. And like, I'm so weird. Like, I'm all over the place, ADD, and Lindsay Wessels understands me. So I have someone that understands my craziness. And what's funny is some of you are like, can you just give me the 7 ways to do things? 7 ways to build a business is online. It's never worked for anyone. Okay. We don't learn that way. We learn randomly. How many of you recognize that when I coached ice hockey, I used to bring a soccer ball on the ice, because if you can play soccer and hockey at the same time, you get better. Does everybody get it? Like, you got to be random. You need weird stuff to happen to be able to get your goals. Because like Mike Tyson says, all your plans, they're going to be out the window by about the 21st because you get punched in the face. How many of you recognize by the 21st, it's 21 days since you didn't achieve what you want. It is the most depressing day of the year. And it is the #1 day of prescriptions getting ordered for Prozac and other antidepressants on January 21st, period. And I know that because I live in that industry, because that's when people realize that 21 days since they didn't do what they wanted. And it's the day their credit card bills come from the holidays. How many of you understand that? Double whammy. So this is what happens. Want, don't want. But what really controls us, everybody put up the right hand. Put it up real quick. Right hand, right hand, right hand, right hand. Okay, put it up. That is called, look at it real quick. Just look at it. Do the Freddy Krueger thing. Okay, this right here is your hand, which is your need to be right, which is your identity. You can put it down right now. So Michael, what do you know about identities? I had a fake ID business. How many of you had a fake ID as a kid? Did anybody have fake ID? Raise your hand if you had one. Anybody have one? Maria, I knew I'd love you, right? Fake ID. So if you had one, those are my fun people. But some of you are like, you're bad having a fake ID. But how many of you realize all of you have a fake ID on a regular basis? You pretend you can't do things that you're capable of doing. You're operating from a fake ID every day of the week. How many of you understand? You're bullshitting yourself. How many of you realize you're 10 times more capable of your acting and you're running a fake ID and you're pretending you can't regularly and you're selling the people in your life on it? So what happens is we've got an identity, and our identity basically says, I do this and I don't do that. I do this and I don't do that. And we are controlled our entire life by what I'm about to explain next. And when I talk about identities, like how many of you ever said before, like tomorrow's going to be different? You ever said that? I'm going to work out tomorrow. Tomorrow's my day, right? And then you wake up tomorrow, do the same thing you did prior. And the reason is there was a day in your life where you set a plan for your life, whether you realize it or not, and you set the midpoint of your life, the middle of what you're about to do. And this is what you do the majority of your life. How many of you would like to be better at recruiting? Raise your hands high. High. What if I told you you're already expert recruiters? Every one of you. You've recruited all of these crazy people into your life already. How many of you understand that? You've recruited your brother-in-law, your sister-in-law that drives you nuts, your neighbor, the guy that doesn't do a good job at work. You have been recruiting for years. How many of you understand that? You've just recruited the wrong people. You've recruited the people based on the life that you wanted, not the life that you want. How many of you understand that? If you do, ding, 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 anybody catching on? I'm not saying getting rid of them. I'm saying we are going to add more. So my Jersey people, we're not going to put cement shoes on people. We're not getting rid of them. We're not getting, I mean, Maria knows this stuff. I think she's Italian. We're not going to get rid of them. But the point is, why am I saying that? Is we need to add the people in our lives to help us get what it is we want. So this is what people are dealing with regularly. A list of 4 things they check off on a regular basis. What do I want? What do I not want? How do I see myself? And what are the people in my life think about what it is that I do? So all the greatest goals in the world cannot break this because this controls you. And I don't have like some fancy story about like, I like these challenges I've been through. I don't have this fancy story like my dad, Steve Jobs. I'm a middle-class kid from New Jersey. I grew up middle class, not anymore. And people say, well, what's so bad about being middle class? Well, here's the problem with growing up middle class. You don't have to do anything. You're right in the middle and you're okay. And how many of you realize okay is okay as long as okay is okay? And okay is still okay as long as okay is okay. But as soon as okay is not okay, it's not okay anymore. I used to say I want to put that on shirts, and then I realized it would cost me a fortune in ink. So instead I put this term here, average sucks. And what average sucks is not about me being better than you. It's about every one of us in our lives, and our goals and our things we want are controlled by our average. Do you realize that your average controls every single thing that you do? Single thing in your life is controlled by your average. How do I know this? If I called our good friend Mark Zuckerberg, I said, Mark, what has Elena Vogel been up to lately? What's Linda McGarvey doing? Dude, he knows everything. Okay, he would tell us. Here's how many times she went to this website. Here's how often she goes to Pottery Barn. Here's how often she shops. Bezos, what are they buying? How many of you recognize? We know how many times a year you read books, how often you're intimate, what goes on and what you weigh by your keystrokes and the way that you live. And if you looked at it for a year, how many of you realize you have an average? How many of you understand? Unfortunately, it's not the average you want. How many of you would like to accelerate what your average is? How many of you would like to do that? Anybody want to do that? How do we do that? Well, there's a very, very simple way to do it. Number one is we've got to get to the other side of the wall. We've got to live over here. Everything you want is over here, but we live here and we pretend we're here. So how do we get over the wall? I got it, Michael. I'm going to do what my parents told me to do. See, I've grown up in New Jersey and my parents would say, I'd say, Mom, how do you get a fancy car? I used to think a Lexus was a fancy car. Maybe you think a Lexus fancy car. I'm not going to knock anybody. It's a nice car, right? I'd say, Mom, how do you get a Lexus? Coming from a Buick household, a Lexus is amazing. And they'd say, you know what? That's easy. Be a business owner. So I took advice about business from an aerospace engineer and a teacher. How many of you understand that's not who you take business advice from? And here's the advice they gave me. Work hard and be a good person. And when I got into network marketing at the beginning, I worked hard and I was a very good person. And I was stressed and I was broke and I burned out. And the reason I tell you this is, how many of you realize working hard, not even smarter, not even harder, either of those are going to be useless? How many of you realize that we need to become effective? And what I mean by effective is, if you run your head into this wall, you're going to get a bloody bruised head. If you try to pretend the wall is not there and try to secret the wall away, it's not going to work either. So there's a few ways to get what it is you want. Number one is you can pretend the wall's not there and it's still there. Number two, you can ask people like Maria for help and actually listen. How many of you realize if she actually tells you to do it, it's probably a good idea, because it would hurt the company or her business if it didn't go well. So you should probably do what she says if she recommends it, or any of the other leaders that are on this training right now. Number two is you could learn how to build a ladder. It may take you years, go to college, build a ladder. I had a guy recently said to me, he goes, I'm going to go back to school and get an MBA. The guy was coming in for an interview. I said, then I'm definitely not going to hire you, because I don't want a guy with an MBA. I want someone that can sell. How many of you understand the difference? Spend the next 3 years learning how to sell, and then I'll give you $250,000 a year. Go get an MBA and I'll give you $12 an hour. How many of you understand what I'm saying? I'm not looking for a guy with an MBA. I'm looking for someone that's made money. Does everybody understand this? I never got into business school at ASU. I had a 2.6 GPA. Robert Kiyosaki had 1.4. We were talking about this the other day. Combined, we don't have a 4.0. But both of us have been back to ASU to speak to the Honors College and got paid for it. Isn't that crazy? They pay me to speak at the Barrett Honors College, and I never, ever once got into business school. Isn't that funny? And I train all the new young kids on how to be entrepreneurs. That's why I'm telling you this. Because the last thing we need to do is we've got to outgrow the wall. And what I mean by outgrow the wall is, if you outgrow it, you step right over it. How many of you would like to outgrow your limitations here in the next few minutes with a few little hints that I'm about to give you? How many of you are game on for doing that? Anybody game on? You guys like this? Okay. So I was speaking at a direct sales mastermind. Can you believe they take a guy like me? It's been retired from the industry for 17 years and a little bit of experience in this. I've been every one of you. I've been the new person getting started. I've been the frustrated person right in the middle, making 3 or 4 grand a month. I've been a top producer in 2 companies and the number 1 earner in another. I made a lot of money by the time I was 24 years old in direct sales. I got out of it because this is what I do now. And I found what I'm supposed to do. Everyone's got their thing. I was called, I got my passion, I do my thing. So I can't be involved. I use your products. I love your products. Even before I met Maria, I've been using them. I take them regularly. I have a set at the house, so I don't forget Anna's set. I order 2 sets a month. I have 1 at the house and I have 1 at home, so I don't forget to take them. So I've like doubled up on everything. But the purpose is, we've got to figure out how to grow. So I'm at this mastermind, right? And this lady walks out of this bar and she stumbles out. So I'm in Utah and there's a drunk lady. How many of you realize how funny this is, right? And she stumbles out of the bar and she goes, "You don't know how hard my divorce is." And I just looked her in the eyes. I said, "Your divorce isn't hard." And she goes, sobered up very quickly. "What do you mean it's not hard? What do you know about my divorce?" I said, "Your divorce isn't hard. It's harder than you'd like it to be." How many of you realize this business isn't hard? It's harder than you'd like it to be, because you're not skilled as much yet that you need to be. How many of you realize nothing in life is hard? So when your people on your team say this is hard, you need to say it's actually not. It's harder than you'd like it to be, because there's skills you don't have yet. How many of you understanding what I'm saying? If you are, ding, 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 and raise your hand. How many of you are getting this? So the purpose is, why am I telling you this right now? Because we got to figure out the things we need. And Maria, I think I'm going to go about 15 minutes over, if that's okay. Am I okay about going 15 over? And if anybody's got to leave because something's more important than me, just put in the box what it is, other than getting your kids to bed. I get it, but let them stay up late. It's okay. It was Martin Luther King Day today, and Martin Luther King never would have taken today off. I'm positive. I said today, like, our team's like, "Do we have the day off?" You could do what you want, but I promise you, I've met his granddaughter. He would have never taken a day off. How many of you understand that? His mission was too important. Man never took a day off, ever in a million years, 7 days a week till he burned out. So he would have loved it if we worked our asses off today, making the world better. How many of you understand that? You guys getting this? So let your kids stay up 15 more minutes while mommy and daddy become better people. So, the point is where I'm going with this is, we've got to get ourselves to grow. So we've got to change how we use our communication with what it is that we do. So, like, I'll give you an example for a second. And before I get into the goals thing again, let me just add one more little concept here that'll help all of you. How many of you ever been asked, like, how much does it cost? And you turn like bright red or stone cold, or didn't work? Like, how many of you have been asked that before? How much is it? How many of you have got that question? I saw a hand go up. Jan Smith. I saw the hand go up. Jan Smith. Do you want to unmute yourself, Jan Smith? Raise your hand, Jan Smith. Unmute yourself, Jan Smith. Unmute. That's you, Jan Smith. Jan Smith. Jan Smith. Are you there? Jan Smith. Are you unmuted, Jan? Can you do it? Are you capable? You got it. You can do it, Jan. Unmute. It's right on the bottom. It says mute, left-hand side, bottom. I want to talk to you if you're able to. I'm going to request you to be unmuted. Are you able to, Jan? Yes, no? Just trying to figure it out. If not, I'll call on somebody else. You figured that out. Jan, you're my next person to call on in a few seconds. Okay. Chad Binder, I'm calling on you. Chad, unmute. Can nobody unmute? There you are. We'll figure it out. So Chad, how long you been in business?
Just a couple months.
Great. Has anyone ever asked you how much do the products cost?
Yes.
Great. So how do you respond?
Well, till you learn to get caught, sometimes you get caught off guard.
I understand, but how do you respond? So when someone says how much they cost, what do you say?
Well, the first time I think I said essentially something along the lines of, you get what you pay for. You want quality, you pay for quality.
You're antagonistic. I like it. Okay, very good. All right. Great. So ask me how much they cost.
How much do they cost?
Well, they're $200 a month and there's different options and this and that. We've heard that before, correct?
Yes.
Now ask me how much they cost.
How much do they cost?
Wrong question. What would you like them to do for you? And then you're going to say, I don't know. What do they do? Well, these alone, have you noticed that as you get older, you have less energy? And for whatever reason, you think that when you were younger, you had more energy?
True.
How would you like to take something that literally gets your body to work the way it's supposed to, so it does the things it's supposed to do?
I would love it.
You don't have to think much. All you need to do is count 2, 2, and 1. And if you can, you count 2, 2, and 1?
Sometimes.
Okay. And if you can count, no, being serious, can we stop the acting? Can you count 2, 2, and 1?
I can.
It's 5 total, which is the lucky number in most cultures. And if you do that, your body is going to work more of the way it's supposed to and produce things the way it's supposed to, where the mitochondria of the body is going to do what it needs to do.
That sounds great.
It does, doesn't it? So a couple $100 a month, but the benefit of the product is you're going to have more energy, you'll be more productive, and you're really going to enjoy your life more.
Sounds like a win.
It even possibly can help your libido. It's not a bad thing. But the point is, we throw that in sometimes, but you don't want to promise, could possibly, right? But the point is, I get people laughing. But the point is, when you tell people that, you respond differently. So the same thing, people's response differently to sales also is the same response we have to getting what we want when we set our goals. So if you respond differently, people respond differently. So what if we set our plans for the things we want and we learned how to respond differently to them? So I'm going to put you back on mute, my friend. Chad, you're going back on mute. Okay. I know Jan's getting out the list on how to unmute on Zoom. Okay. But the point is, I'd love to talk to her if I can later. I'm going to definitely want to call her and have her help. But let's talk about the things we want in our lives. How many of you got big goals and big things you want? How many of you have big goals, big things? Anybody have big goals, big things? Okay. What if I said, I want you to come down to my office, and Maria, you got to see in my building. I just put in 150. I mean, it's huge. I just put in a 36-foot by 17 video wall in our building, which is incredible. Just one of the things we just added. And I had you come down and we wrote all of your goals on the wall, like one by one by one by one. And we all sat here and all 100 or 200 of us, we wrote down our goals, what we wanted. We got excited. Maria and I, Todd and Carrie and Pam and everyone, Michelle and everybody. And we all wrote down our goals and we got excited. And we said, let's go get them. I'll give you 6 months to go get them. And you're fired up, man. You are like pumped on dopamine. You are scared if you don't do it. FOMO might kick in. People be embarrassed, and you're going to do it. You are totally committed. I said, come back in 6 months. Let me know how you did. And I find out that 6 months later, when you come back, nobody did it. Only 3% of the people achieved their goals. Because how many of you realize the majority of us identify as people that one day will get there that don't actually do it? How many of you understand what I'm talking about? Anybody catching on? We live inside of our box. So then I'm like, all right, I think I got it wrong. I need to give them subliminal tapes. I'm going to fire the group up. I'm going to get Sam Maranto, this guy here in town in Arizona. He's going to go make subliminal tapes and we're going to make this great thing. And you're going to go to bed, hypnotic stuff inside your ears. And it's going to be amazing. And we'll write goals. And every 5 minutes they'll flash in your eyes. Like, meet me in 6 months. How many of you did it? And still nobody did it. So I grabbed the 3 people that pulled it off, like Marie and I and a couple other people. Say, what did you do? And the 3 of them did the same thing. And then I asked the 97%, what did they do? The same damn thing. So why didn't they pull off their goals? What did they do that didn't work? Like, what's the problem here? And then I'm like, I wonder what it is. Got it. I got it. We didn't write them big enough in their favorite color. So we write it in their favorite color, and 6 months later they come back and they still didn't do it. And then I realized this very simple thing. The right people doing what will never work for them, doesn't matter how cute their dress is, it's still not going to work for them. How many of you understand that? The right person who's a nice person, who still does what will never work for them, is never going to work for them. What if I told you 97% of the people is not motivated the same way the 3% are? 3% of the people are decide and do people who are actually going to do what they say they're going to do. So that means you're going to have to bring in 100 people to hope 3 of them are going to do what they say they're going to do. 97% of the people, we can't leave them by the wayside. We need to look at this a little bit differently. They're not motivated by the same thing. They're motivated by things getting bad enough and then they change. They're driven by cortisol and that's when they change. Our job is to upgrade their brain chemistry and to get them to be proud of themselves regularly so they'll do the things they need to do. I'll give you a prime example. If I put a picture on your fridge of a supermodel with your face on it, like I used to have like Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day, this little diary he had, and my face, his body, and I go, that's my body. I'd still open the fridge. I'd get cheesecake all the time. I promise I did not follow the routine. You put a supermodel body on your head and you put it on, I promise you're still going to eat cheesecake. But if you put a sign on the fridge that says unintelligent, heavy people that don't take care of themselves, you make yourself look 9,000 pounds on the fridge. How many of you realize the celery is coming out? How many of you understand that? The cucumbers are coming out. You're using your health products at the highest possible level. If I put a picture of $1 million on the fridge, you're going to go like this. You're going to say, Michael, $1 million, that sounds great, but that's not what's going to motivate you. What's really, really going to motivate you is something a little different. Taking a picture of your bank account today and go, inflation is going to kill this family if I don't change this. How many of you understand that? The point is, we need to realize that dream boards work for 3% of the population. Nightmare boards work for 97% of the world. How many of you recognize we're better off with a nightmare than we are with a dream? So let me teach you how to install dreams in people. It's the combination of the two at the same time. Most of us do not realize why we got started in this business. So as we bring people into this business, we get so excited for them. We get so turned on for them. We so want them to achieve, but we miss what really gets people to get started. So let's play a little game here. Like, what was your original reason for getting started in this business? I want you to think about this because I'm going to give you a question that's made me millions of dollars. I still use it all the time, a magic question. But it's a simple question that I'm going to give you that's super, super powerful. I'm going to give you in a second. But what was the reason that you got started? Raise your hand. I'll call on you. I just want to like a simple little 10 word story. What's the reason you got started originally? Who would like to tell me? Let's get someone. So I'm going to first call on Jessica Huss. Jessica, original reason you got started? Unmute yourself, Jessica. And if you're going to unmute, like start learning where that is now.
Hi.
Okay, go ahead. So Jessica, why'd you get started originally?
Get out of the pain.
I know that, but like, what do you mean by that?
I had a hand injury and I couldn't eat food and I was a single mom and I needed extra income.
Very good. So basically your life was not where you wanted it to be, correct?
Correct.
But here you are telling everyone, you can be rich, you can be happy, you can get what you want. Instead of asking the magic question, what's not perfect in your life yet? So when you ask someone's not perfect in their life yet, that's not negative, is it? It tells you to say what's wrong. I'm not making enough money. I don't have enough free time. I don't have the time to do what I want. Do you realize unless somebody has a challenge, they have no reason to get started in this opportunity? How many of you understand that? If someone has got a $3 million raise at work, we should not be talking about this. Please, folks, there's other people to talk to. How many of you understand that? I had someone send me this the other day. I broke my wrist this summer and somebody sent me this. They're like, I think this will help you with your wrist, because they knew I had a problem and they were looking to solve the problem. I haven't even opened it yet. You guys ever seen this before? I haven't even opened this because I have these. But the point is, she's another naturopath. She's like, she seeked out online, broken wrist. Do you know what I'm saying? And then immediately sent this in, go, this will help you heal. But she probably should have picked up the phone and called me and not just mailed me the product. How many of you understand that? Everybody catching on? So the purpose is like, we got to think why we got started. Do you know why people got started? Like, I promise you, Lisa being in education is not like, I love my job in education. I get paid $39 million a year. I get private jet access. Okay. I instantaneously get clothes, wardrobe on a regular basis. And no, you don't. You feel good because you're helping people, because you're in education. How many of you understand that? You enjoy it, but you're not getting all your needs met. How many of you understand this? Everybody catching on? If not, we would not get involved. She's the first to tell you. So do you realize the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, when we're setting our outcomes, we need to say, what's not what we want it to be in our life? And what would we like to have better? And what's funny is, isn't this the same thing we did years ago? We did this about 10 years ago and we forgot we're doing it. So what if I said the first thing we need to do today is say, what if the way you live right now is the worst you're willing to ever live? Wouldn't that be a great question to ask yourself? What if your current finances are the lowest you will ever go in your life and you will never do worse than you're doing? Would that be a great question that you've never asked yourself? See, years ago, when I was having trouble getting my book done, couldn't figure out why I couldn't get this thing done. Like I travel all over the world, make millions of dollars. Like I have a great life. I earned it. I work more than most people have ever worked in their life. I work in a year most people ever do in their entire life. I was just in Tampa a couple of minutes ago. Spoke all day. I played hockey this afternoon. I got another presentation in the morning. I am go nonstop. I love what I do. I'm with my kids all the time. Never miss any of my kids' stuff. Like I'm like, go, 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 doing things, making it happen. I'm not telling you this to impress you, but I'm like, why can't I get this book done? Like I know all the material. And then it dawned on me, the wrong person was writing the book. A 7-year-old boy was writing the book who didn't do good in school, that was trying to impress his wife and the world that he was going to finally get a book done. How many of you realize what I just said? Is anybody getting this? So I'm on a podcast one day with my buddy Brad. And I said, Brad, how old are you? He goes, I'm 39. I said, Brad, what can a 39-year-old do that's got a beautiful wife, every reason to do well in this world, that makes millions of dollars, travels all over the world? What can that guy do, Brad? The guy can do anything. When's the last time you contracted that guy to succeed? Do you realize that Lisa is very qualified with communication, language, trains people all over the world? She's very successful. She works with people. I'm just calling you out, Lisa, 2.5 days into the business. She has had the courage to sign up in business, be on a Zoom call with a crazy guy from New Jersey. What can that lady do? And the answer is a lot. But the problem is we're contracting the wrong person to achieve the things we want. How many of you are getting this right now? Anybody catching on? We have a relationship with the average version of ourselves versus what we're capable of doing. How many of you are getting this? Raise your hand because I see you. How many of you are getting this right now? So what we need to do is we've got to contract with our higher version of ourselves, and we've got to ask the question, what can this person do? And the answer is a lot. The answer is anything you want. But you've got to decide, are you willing to override the program that's inside of you that gets in most people's ways? And there's some very, very powerful programs that stop us from doing the things that we want. And one of those programs is our average. And it may be uncomfortable to hear, Isa, but it's either we get uncomfortable today or we die miserable. And I'm going to tell you something that most of us have to recognize, that I'm not here to make friends. I'll tell you my business plan. It's very simple. I make very comfortable people extremely uncomfortable. And I make people like Maria's seen that are in a lot of pain. I do my best to make them very comfortable because they're in a lot of pain. And I want to help them be out of pain. But how many of you realize your comfort's going to kill you? Does everybody understand this? Your safety net's going to kill you. So when I talk to people about this, I ask these questions because everybody thinks your wants are going to move you. Maria asked me to get on. I'm going to give you private coaching right now. Your wants will never drive you and your don't wants will never drive you long term. What drives you is the people and the identity. So what I say is this. When you start living differently, who's going to be the beneficiary of the better way you live? I want you to think about that for a second. When you are less stressed financially and your body feels better and is more energized, who's the first person that's going to benefit outside of you? You might say, my husband, my wife, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my kids. Then we need to do this for them. This is not about having a why. You got to have a why. Simon Sinek, please. The guy's never ran a business in his life, but he's got a really good book. But the point is, why am I telling you this? Okay. I'm telling you this because we need to realize what's really going to motivate us. The people and the identity is what drives us. So we need to recognize, I'm not going to prove it to the people. I'm going to do this because I love these people in my life, and I'm going to figure this out so I can show them how down the road. How many of you understand what I just said? Is everybody getting this? Years ago, I had a big sign downstairs in my building that says, accept the power of your influence. When I quit drinking 6 years ago, it wasn't because I had a problem. I want you to understand this. This is an outcome. It was a goal. I quit drinking and I quit in one day, 1 second, sitting there at the Princess Hotel, beautiful New Year's party. I'm having drinks. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I don't even like to drink. I don't even enjoy this. I'm tired in the morning. I run Spartan races. What am I doing? And then I realized, like, people call me all the time and they ask me, Michael, what do you take for your throat? What kind of product? What kind of NAD stuff do you take? I get this all the time. People are always asking advice. So I got clients that are alcoholics and I'm drinking a fancy $300 bottle of wine, $400 bottle of wine with my wife. What if I have people with problems that I'm getting them started? Do you realize you not making this business what it's capable of being harms other people that want to do it? Do you know that our obligation as people is to play at a higher level? How many of you have brought someone into this business or plan on bringing someone in? How many of you brought someone in or plan on bringing someone in? And everyone done that? Okay. So from the Talmud, it's a very simple statement. It says, when you save a life, you're responsible for it. And what that means is when we bring someone in this business, we're not responsible for their success. We're responsible for being our best. And a lot of us have to recognize that we need to be our best. And we're not going to be our best by waiting, by thinking, by hoping, by praying. We're going to be our best by doing two things. There's two ways to change your life. One is to change your actions, which I help people with all the time. How many of you would like to change your actions? Anybody want to change their actions? Number two is our perceptions. When your perception of you changes and you see yourself as an entrepreneur, when you see yourself as a leader, when you see yourself as a winner, other people see that around you as well, and they just start doing things for you. How many of you would love the ability to change the way the world perceives you? How many of you would like that? Anybody want that? So I'm going to give you a shortcut right now. And I'm going to give you the magic line here again, one more time. What's not perfect in your life yet? Instead of doing the yes and no thing, I can do that right now. I got something more important than sales. And the reason this is very, very important that all of us need to understand is there's really only about 4 things that we need to hit the level that we need. Raise your hand if you could make what Maria's making and have a team like she has and have your own Zoom like this. Because do you realize she's working really hard? How many of you care about Maria and you'd like to make her life better? Raise your hand if you'd like to make her life better. Anybody got it? Then you need to grow a business and have 150, 200 person call on a Monday night and she could take a nap. Well, she never would take a nap, but how many of you would like to give her that gift? How many of you would love that? We owe that to our leaders to be our best and do the thing. She'll never take a nap. I don't know what I was thinking, right? But the purpose is, if I were to document what she does and the secret all of us need to do, I am going to, yeah, you like that, Shauna. That's the key. We're responsible for it. So what I realized is a very simple thing. If I were to figure out what Maria does, and I'll have about 8 minutes left and I'll be done. And then I'll show you, how many of you want to take me home with you and have me motivate you every day? How many of you like me to show up in your house and go, do it? Okay. How many of you like it? Or how many of you like take me in a sales meeting? Everyone take me to, I will close all kinds of deals. I love just, my parents would drop me at the mall when I was a kid. Like I was really like introverted around my friends, but they would drop me at Sears and I'd sell Bose speakers at 13 years old to people. I was hilarious. Right. And that's what I learned. I just got around people, put my 10,000 hours in by the time I was 20. Right. But I put the time in. I was very introverted. I'll talk about it in my book. But if I were to like take blood work from Maria and I'd say like, what makes Maria great? It's not her understanding of the product. It's not because she understands that there is, I can't even read this correctly, that there is 780 micrograms of niacin in here. It's not because she knows that. The reason she's great is she's fully committed to what we're doing. How many of you realize unless you have 2 feet fully planted in, this is going to be impossible? How many of you understand that? But your problem is none of you have a commitment issue. You have no commitment issue. That is not your problem. You have a congruency issue. You are not good at doing what you said you were going to do. How many of you, as Maria said, we're doing this call on Monday night. I knew we were doing this on Monday night. Even if she would have lost her voice, we would have done this call on Monday night and it was going to happen because that is who Maria is. Well, Michael, I do what I say I'm going to do. You don't. You said you were going to make 6 figures for the last 3 years. How many of you realize you have gotten comfortable lying to yourself? How many of you understand this? Everybody catching on? Our issue is we lie to ourselves. We say we're going to do it and we don't. What if this was the year and our goal was, I am going to become congruent this year. I am only going to say what I'm going to do. And I'm actually going to do it. On my shoulders, I don't have an angel of death and an angel of light. I got 2 angels of death. I wanted both. And the reason why is so I never look back. How many of you understand? In front of me is the light. Anybody got it? I don't want to look back. Angel of death. Angel of death. And I move forward. How many of you understand that? So commitment and congruency. How many of you realize if we just made that our goal for this year, I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And I'm fully committed to this business. And I am going to do what I say I'm going to do. And I'm going to stop trying to do this business well. And I'm going to do the micro things that make me better. How many of you understand that? Anybody catching on? Are you guys getting this? I'm going to bring it up with people. I'm going to share it with people. I'm going to do belly to belly. I'm going to do what needs to happen. We're going to do that. The third thing, okay, that she's a master of is confidence. Even if it scares the shit out of her, she does it. How many of you realize you're a confidence pill away? And I don't mean a Xanax and I don't mean a bottle of Jack Daniels away. How many of you recognize if you do not develop your confidence, this business will be challenging? How many of you understand that? Anybody catching on? Like it'll be challenging. So she's a confident person that does what she says she's going to do and she's fully committed. It's great. But the last thing she's been working on, and when she brought me into her life years ago and said she went to Tony, which is great, she's obsessed with communication. She's obsessed with becoming a better communicator. How many of you realize that if you communicated faster, said things quicker, communicated more effectively, your life would be easier? How many of you realize that if you keep on saying to your kids, how was your day? They have every right to go, good. Why do you say that to your kid every day? And you're like, dude, my kid's lazy. You're boring, mom. Imagine you picked up your kid from school and said, I bet you learned nothing today and it was a complete waste of time and all of your teachers are atrocious. No. Jim was good. Really? Tell me about it. How many of you recognize if you got more creative, your kids would talk? Anybody catching on? If you got more creative, your prospects would talk. If you're more fun, people would do business with you. But we've got to get ourselves to grow. It's like, Michael, what does that have to do with goal setting? Dude, if you want regular goal setting, go get Tom Hopkins goal setting online. But your real goal has to be, you've got to be proud of yourself that you're going to build you in 2023. And what I like to think about is if I had these 4 circles in front of me and I had the 4 C's in front of me, confidence, communication, commitment, and congruency. And I realized that tomorrow I pick up the phone and call a friend of mine about the business. I am committed. I did what I said I was going to do. I was confident and I was congruent and I communicated. And what's amazing is I'd have 4 little dots right there. Kind of looks like weird smiley faces. And what if later that day I got on a Zoom and I committed that I would be there and I was congruent. And then I spoke on the Zoom and I got better communicated. And do you realize after about 90 days, it'd be fully filled in, and about 90 days to 6 months from now, you'd realize what happened. You would be all 4 of these things and you'd have more of what you want. Even if this took 2 years, the business is easy for a fully committed person. When I was in direct sales, I had a guy on my team. He was a military recruiter. He was a Marine recruiter. He used to walk up to people at the mall and go, what's up, devil dog? What's a devil dog? Aren't you a Marine? Well, you look like one. Come with me. And he'd recruit kids that were at the mall going shopping to go to war. How many of you understand that? If you could do that, you can sell this product. How many of you understand that? So the point is the guy already had all 4 circles filled out. How many of you recognize we either got to find people with the circles or we got to fill in our own? And when you fill in your own, you attract more of what it is that you are. So I'm going to say the last couple of things to you and help you out real quick. How many of you are learning right now? Anybody learning? If you are, say I am. Anybody learning? I'll tell you, I'm not well, I'm fun. I'm not like easy, get you just to feel good and like fake shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm just someone that like really is obsessed with results. Like, why am I here and not with my kids tonight? I don't need to be here. Okay. I could sell merchant accounts if I wanted to get rich. I am looking for people in this world because I'm not going to live forever. I'm going to die one day. And I need some of you to raise your kids and live in this world so my kids have someone to play with that live and think normally. How many of you realize my mission is simple? I need to get across to a couple of people and teach capitalism, keep it alive, entrepreneurship, teach great communication, clear language, confident people. So my kids, my 21-year-old and my 10-year-old have people to roll with. How many of you have heard this before? We got to leave a better world for our children and grandchildren. I say bullshit. We have to leave better children for our world. Does everybody understand that? We've got to leave better people for this world. What if I said this has nothing to do with LifeVantage at all? This is all a conspiracy to get you to become better people. It's just the vehicle is LifeVantage. And when you become a better person, your life works the way you want it to. Like, we're so obsessed with wanting people to say yes. I realize most people say no anyways. So why would we want someone to say yes when they can say no? Okay. Like, what do you mean? We want them to say no? I just tell people this. Instead of trying to get someone to say yes to the business, and I know they're going to say no, I just say, hey, if I could show you a way to make more money, and I could show you a way to feel healthier, is there any reason you wouldn't want to hear about it? Well, no. Think about that for a second. Well, great. Can we set up a meeting and talk about it? If you understand how to work with people, your life is going to get more effective and it's going to get better. So I got to just challenge you. And I do get to the point, Shauna, and I get to the point is simple. I'm recruiting people tonight. And here's the recruitment. I don't have a business opportunity to recruit you into. I'm recruiting people to make this world not better, to make themselves better so this world is better. How many of you know that inside of your heart, there's an above average person that can live better and more exciting in your life, and you have the ability to live a way better life than you currently have? Raise your hand if that's you. How many of you understand that? Is that you? And if it's not you, you should have left a long time ago, because I'm recruiting for that right now. And what I mean by that is I'm looking for people to wake up their mind, to wake up their souls, to do the things they want to do. Because I think most people are walking the earth dead without a prayer, without a dream. They're living some other fantasy. Do you know why people are so receptive to TikTok and all these websites and everything? Because they're miserable in their own lives. do you know that what we offer at convention, like the thing you were just at is amazing. We got to love change. What you were just at in Mexico is so much more exciting. I promise you on the beach when Maria was in Mexico, I promise they're like, hey, you want to go watch Netflix? No, they're talking about dreams and goals and excitement and things we're going to do. And we're going to buy a jet together and it's going to be fun. And I'm going to buy a place here. They're not like, do you know what's going on in this episode? Right? We don't know. We're not doing that. So we can wake people up and we can get them to change. So let me share this last little scenario with you real quick. Help you out. A little coaching moment. Help you out. I'll be off here in 4 minutes. I want you to imagine you had a big old mirror in front of you, big old mirror. Guess who's in the mirror? You, right? You're in the mirror because that's who's in the mirror. Not a weird clown that's going to kill you, but you look in the mirror as a big old mirror and it's you. It's 5 feet away and it's you. Of course it's you because it's a mirror. And you look at the mirror, but it's not you today. It's you 5 years from now. It's crazy as you look younger. How many of you believe if you live better 5 years from now, you're going to look younger? How many of you understand that? I'm 45 years old. I feel 14. Okay. I play hockey 4 days a week. How many of you understand that? I live a great life. I bought a building, a block from the ice rink. That's every Canadian. I'm not Canadian, but that's every like Canadian kid's dream. But I'm a New Jersey boy, same kind of dream. I live in Scottsdale. I bought a building, put a freaking shower in so I could do what I want. I get a great life. I'm not telling you this to like impress you. I'm telling you is to say, I look in the mirror and I see myself 5 years from now looking identical or younger. How many of you would like to look younger 5 years from now? Anybody want that? And that person's less stressed. They're happier. They're smiling, maybe a little gray, but we'll just cover it up. It's okay. We'll figure it out, right? Smiling, you know for a fact the collagen's really kicked in and you're looking in and going, God, I'm proud of that person, man. I like that person. 5 feet away, you can almost feel them. And you look behind you and there's another mirror. But it's who you are 5 years from now, but it's worse than it is today, which is an option. And you look and go, I like this one better. And as you look at the mirror, what if I said, if you took one step closer to the mirror, it becomes a little more real. It becomes a little more real. You take another step closer and it becomes a little more real. And now you're like 2 feet away. You could almost touch and feel the feeling. And they're like, come here, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Come on, look, you look back, like it's an option. And you realize they're both options. Do we move towards who we're capable of being, or do we move towards who we're capable of being? Both are capabilities. And you've really got to decide which capability you're after. A lot of people don't go for the things they want in this world because they think if I go for what I want, I'll wind up worse than I am today. You're already programmed at worst case scenario, you get what you have. How many of you understand it? You can't do worse than this because you're programmed to get this. Even if you lost everything, you'd get this back again. Like, do you understand? All of us get this no matter what. You got nothing to lose because you already got this. So we're like, well, Michael, you're not talking to me, man. I make $300,000 a year. That's it. I make $1 million a year. That's it. If you make $1 million, you should be making 5 million. If you make up 50,000, you should make 100,000. If you could run a 9-minute mile, you can run an 8-minute mile. How many of you understand this? You've got to challenge yourself and ask yourself, are you willing to be an example for others? So the biggest reason I quit drinking and the biggest reason I go for what I want every day of the week and I push myself to the limit is I've accepted the power of my own influence. Are you willing to step into being an example for others to show them it's possible by using your life as an example of what's possible to serve other people? How many of you realize the power of what I'm talking about tonight? That is your goal for this year. It's either we're going to recruit 3 people and I'm going to get 3 to get 3, or I'm going to get myself to play small and do what it is I'm doing. So my outcome is very simple. I like to help people that want to step into the mirror. I don't like to stand people that stand still. People that stand still are boring. I get ADD. I'm hyper. I like people that like to move forward. How many of you would like to move forward and have a better quality of life? How many of you would like that? Anybody want that? If you do say I do, raise your hands. So there's only a few things we need to work on to make our lives better. About a year ago, when Marie and I first did our first call, I talked to the group about call to action. I see a lot of your faces. I know a lot of you have taken it, which is great. And I've been doing this for 20 years. And one of the things 20 years ago I recognized is if I could just get people to get more done, they'll love themselves more and they'll do even more. If I could just get them to get started, most people say 21 days to a habit. I'm so good at this shit and I'm so impatient that I like to do it in 5 days to rewire people to do things. I wasn't this weekend in Tampa. A guy said to me at Core, the same when you were at Maria, he quit drinking. He didn't even have a drinking problem. He quit drinking a year ago when he went. And I have other people, it's not about drinking. I have people that lose 30, 40, 50 pounds, people that make more sense. How many of you would like to get more done in 5 days than you have in 5 months? How many of you would like that? Anybody want that? More done in 5 days than in 5 months? Who wouldn't want that, right? Well, no, Michael, I'm not going to raise my hand because I'd like to get less done. Of course you want to get more done in 5 days than you have in 5 months. Number two, how many of you would like to learn psychological triggers that drive you and others to make change? How many of you would like that? Learn psychological triggers? What if you could just say 1 or 2 words that literally drive you or others to take action? Maria knows these already. Little words that you can use to instantly drive you to the gym, drive you to push, drive you to grow. I used one on myself today at hockey because I was like a little bit like this and I flipped it on. I got 2 goals the next shift. Why am I telling you this? Because they still work to this day, even though I know the trick. How many of you would like to destroy your current comfort zone? Anybody want to do that? Destroy your current comfort zone? Anybody want to do that? Destroy it. And does anybody think that if I was in your ear and you were saying some of the things that I say, you would make a lot of money, somewhere between a lot to a shit ton of money? How many of you agree with that? Anybody catching on? Okay. And the reason I say this is I want to help all of you really get yourselves where it is you want to go. And I put together a program years ago called Call to Action. It's 5 days from the comfort of your home. It involves this thing called a telephone. Are you guys familiar with these? A phone? People say, well, Michael, why don't you use a phone? I could show you a $220,000 Zoom studio I have down there. I don't use that on purpose because I don't want to watch people eat lasagna. Do you guys understand that? I want to have a conversation. You could take this with clothes on, take it without clothes on. I don't care. With your makeup, without. My wife says, Michael, you have changed 100,000 people's lives in Call to Action, and you probably didn't brush your teeth half the time because it's in the morning. Do you understand? Why am I telling you that? Because it doesn't matter. Here's a better question. How many of you would like to listen better and speak better? Raise your hands. Anybody want to listen better and speak better? So the program does 2 things: listen, speak, listen, speak, listen, speak, listen, speak. And you're going to watch me work with people and make their lives work. So people say, well, when is it? I got one starting next week. I got one in 3 weeks. Maria would like you to do it right away. If you do it, and that she doesn't need you to, because we might as well get ourselves together this year and make it happen. But the point is, it's an opportunity to work together for 5 days, either in the morning or the night. I got one every month for the next 12 months. So you can take it in February, March, April, and you wouldn't believe you could do it in May. And you couldn't believe there's one in June, one in July. But I would take it in January if you can. Starts on Sunday, ends on Thursday. And by Friday of next week, how many of you would like more control over your destiny? How many of you would like that from the comfort of your home? You've got to decide. So the program's simple. I got a website, resultswithmichael.com. I'll pop it on here, resultswithmichael.com. I got people saying it's phenomenal. If you've taken it before, just say, just do it. The program right now, it's 50% off if you'd like to do it. It's normally $600. I'm going to tell you, in my life, I'm one of these people. I'm not a cheap date. I know what Maria paid for Date with Destiny, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. What Date with Destiny would cost. Here's $299. You can't even fill a tank of gas twice for $299 these days. How many of you understand that? How many of you believe that if you brought in 3 more people to your business, you'd make more than $300? How many of you understand that? You'd make more than $300. You bring in 3 people, you'd make more than $300. So it's $300 to take the program. I'm also going to give you a couple of bonuses if you like. Do you guys like bonuses? I'll give you a bonus. Resultsofmichael.com. I'll drop it in the link. Here's the bonus we're going to offer. Give 50% off tonight. I got a little bonus here. How many of you would like a little something called prospecting for profit? How to prospect effectively, the type of people so you stop wasting your time. Does anybody want to prospect the right people to look for more people so you can find the next Lisa Guest? How many of you would like that? Anybody want to learn how to do that? We're going to find the next Lisa. We're going to find perfectly. You're going to have blonde hair. They're going to have glasses. They're going to be in education. We're going to get them in. And the reason is I'm going to show you where to find the people you're looking for and how to be more effective. How about how to overcome any objection you get, like time, money, anything, in ways you couldn't imagine that no one's ever said before? Like when someone says, I don't have the money, there's a very simple response you can give, like, well, how long has that been going on? And are you willing to change that? What's funny is how many of you recognize with better responses, you get a better life? How many of you understand this? If you do ding, 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 there's normally $100 giving it to you for free. I'm also going to throw in confidence for you, not a bottle of Jack Daniels, but I am going to throw in confidence. What if I had this one DJ out of Europe make these binaural beats where it fires you up in the morning and it puts you to bed calmly at night. You can listen for 7 minutes in the morning and 7 minutes at night. How many of you would like that to instantly increase your confidence? Anybody want that? Anybody? I'll throw it. Raise your hand if you want any of this stuff. He's like, he's selling me right now. I'm not selling you. You're selling you. I don't need you to take the course. You need to take the course. I don't need your $300. You need to invest something, because if I gave it away, and in 2020, I gave away 30,000 people the course, and you know what happened? 3,000 took it. Isn't that interesting? Because if you don't invest in something, nobody does anything. Anyone ever hand anybody a box like this? When you give it to them for free, they don't use it. Anybody catching on? So the reason the investment is there is it's the least I can do to help you get started. And how many of you are interested in what I'm saying? Is anybody interested? Raise your hand if you're a winner or a leader. Raise your hand. I'd go to resultsofmichael.com. You got 12 months to do it. And Maria would tell you shining reviews. It's incredible. Notice she said she went to Tony. She told everybody to come see me. I got a lot of people. Tony's Platinum Partners all come to our events because it's just different. I love Tony. Tony's one of my earliest mentors. I love Tony. It's just a different experience. I'm going to work with you. We're going to do it together and we're going to get you what it is you want. And the next thing is after you go to resultsofmichael.com on the second page, it's going to say, do you want a copy of Michael's book? And do you want Michael's shirt? This will make you money. Michael, why would I wear your shirt? It's your shirt in your size. Because when you wear an average suck shirt, guess what? You can't be a loser. How many of you understand that? Number one. Number two, when you wear this to the grocery store, when you're at Sprouts, people say, nice shirt. Thank you. It's our companies. Really, what does your company do? We offer the highest level nutraceutical products in the world that help people make their bodies work the way they need to. Oh, that's interesting. Let me get your phone number. Prospecting tool. Does everybody understand that? Use it for you. I have tens of thousands of these out in the world. You're going to make more money than I am. So it's $49 for a book and a shirt. And what I'm going to do tonight, I did it last time, so I'm going to do it again. I'm going to give you 2 books. And why I'm going to tell you 2 books, one for you and one for the next person you recruit. So the next least the guest you get, you're going to get the next person. So the second book, I'm going to tell you what to do with. The second book, you're going to give to the new person you bring in. And when you bring them in, you're going to go to page 39 and you're just going to write like here, call me when you get here. Most people never get this far. And then you're going to go to the beginning. Dear Lisa, I'm so excited we get to grow together. We're going to have a lot of fun. I believe in you. You should be proud of yourself, Michael. And if they don't get to page 39 and they don't call you, guess what? You don't spend that much time with them because they're not serious. How many of you understand that? For $20, I'm giving you a free book. I'll send it to you. You're going to test people. How many of you realize it's a business of testing? Am I correct? If they don't get to page 39, you tell them to read it. If they don't read it, guess what? You're not influential enough. That's one thing. Or alternatively, what I'm going to tell you is you need to become more effective. So I'm going to say it again clearly. $2.99 to work with me for 5 days. Kick your butt, hold your hand. Maria said, I don't want anything for this. She's not asking any money for this. So I'm giving you the half price off to give you the discount. The reason I'm telling you this is I'm looking for success stories here that can help grow. I want to be this part of the business. You already get the greatest opportunity in the world. I just want to get your mind right, doing the things you need to do to make them happen. So resultsofmichael.com. We'll drop the link one more time. If you're going to do it, do the book and the shirt also. I'll send you 2 books. That's only for tonight. If for those of you that want to like get your team involved, like I want to do this, I will leave the discount open a little later. We're not going to do the bonuses and stuff after tonight. So they get what they get. Do this now if you want to do it. I'm excited to work with you. If you want to do it, say I'm doing it. So what time is available for the calls? People always ask this question. Replays are available. You could take it in Australia in the middle of the night. Some people do that. There's a morning class at 7 a.m. Pacific, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern. You could take it nighttime, 5 o'clock to 8, 5 and 8. It's a couple hours a day. It's easy and accessible. If you have an internet connection or a phone, it's easy to access. You could take it weeks later. It's yours. But the purpose is you have to decide, are you fully committed? I have single mothers of 7 kids that figure it out. I think you can. So with that said, how many of you enjoyed tonight? Did you guys enjoy this? And just signed up, iPhone just signed up. If you're going to do it, give it a shout out. Oh, I see the book right there. Hey, Mia, how are you? Here are you? Awesome. So Maria, forgive me going a little late. I was later than I was. And if you could pop that link into the Facebook group, because people are probably asking there, I was told, give them the link there as well, resultsofmichael.com. That'll be helpful. And with that said, Maria, back to you. And I got about 8 minutes left before I got to roll to say goodnight to my little one, but I'd love to answer questions or anything or talk about it. So how do we do tonight, Maria?
Amazing. I took so many notes.
Me
again.
too. I was taking notes. You didn't see it. ADD.
So many things came back to mind. I absolutely loved core. I thought it was amazing. I know there's a bunch of people on here that are doing core because they could not do it in October. And I'm so excited for their experience. I know Elaine, Victoria, are doing it. And yeah, and Laurie, I'm so excited to see everyone go again because it was transformational. I was there, Tara was there, and a bunch of her leaders were there.
And a lot of my people are now involved with your program, product, and in the business because of your team. So I'm not saying go there to recruit. I am just saying someone recruited people in my company. Like I'm finding this stuff in my office now. Like I have my company on this because of core. People are like talking to them kindly about it. You saw that happen too, didn't it?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It was transformational. I mean, the communication and everything that comes with it along with everything that you give us. I mean, just giving the prospecting for profit. I remember looking through that. It's amazing. And overcoming objections. I listened to that whole module. It's just the way you communicate and how you think differently and you get us think differently and ask differently is just incredible. So if anyone has any questions that you want to know, ask now.
Ask
I will-
now.
Yeah, I will put it in the chat. So it's results.michael.com.
And here's the thing. She keeps on mentioning core, Maria. You got to do call to action first if you're going to do core. So I'm just going to tell all of you, if you're considering doing core down the road, you got to do call to action. It's a starting point for all of you. Highly, highly, highly recommend you do that. And that's going to make a big difference for you as well. Is you got to start with call to action and we'll go from there. 5 days, we go on a date first. If we like each other, we could take it from there. If you're concerned about, like, I'm on the fence, I don't know, should I do it or not? Fences are rusty and you're going to wind up with tetanus. So we don't want you to get a tetanus shot. So, like, get off the fence, decide to do it if you want to, because it's very painful. It's not good. So I saw some questions here. What if money is not motivator? And Mike, can you get these questions too? Because I can answer them later. I sent you a Slack. Check that out, Mike. Grab the slide, the channel here, the whole thing. Be great. What if money is not a motivator for someone and they say they have enough? Then timing. It may not be right for them right now. I don't sell anybody how to do anything. Listen, if the timing's wrong for you, the timing's wrong for you. When Maria and I first met, the timing was wrong for HIT. She's coming either in May or December. It's timing. Listen, timing is everything for people's lives. The only thing you can't control is timing. Someone's like, I just married a rich guy and he's wealthy and I'm happy. We're going to travel the world. Probably shouldn't get him started in the business next week. How many of you understand that? It's just bad timing. Am I correct? Well, no, you don't get it. It would be good for them. Shut up. It's bad timing. How many of you understand it? Go find someone else. Does everybody understand this? It's bad timing. Tell yourself to shut up. Well, Michael, why'd you say shut up? Because you just need to shut up and not do that. Does that make sense? So when someone says they have enough money, so great. If it ever gets where you want to make a difference in people's lives, that's great. So the other day I was on stage, right? Lady said to me, goes, Michael, I'm really bad at saving. I said, no, you're not bad at saving. You're just really good at spending. So if you want to get less good at spending right now, I can teach you how to save. How many of you heard my response right there? See, when you hang with me, your responses get different. And when you respond different, like Maria's seen me at core, are my responses pretty good? They're crazy good.
They're incredible.
Yeah, they're crazy good. So it's mind blowing what we're going to do. And on next Friday, not this Friday, the Friday after, you're going to go, why did I consider not doing that? This guy's insane, but dude, now I'm insane. How many of you would like to be insane? Anybody like, you're like crazy cool. You're crazy great. I want that for you. So what other questions do we have? Do we have, anyone else have? I mean, unmute yourself, raise your hands. I can answer anything. I see a hand up. I see Danette. Danette has a question. Can we unmute Danette? What's up, Danette? You got to mute, Danette. Like, are we going to teach a Zoom class here? I'm going to teach a whole Zoom class. Lower left-hand corner. Unmute. I don't read lips. She froze.
Unmute her.
Yeah, you can't be unmuted. So type it in the box if you want it, Danette. Saba, you have a question? See Saba's hands up?
I think it was up from before.
Okay. Anybody have a question? It's funny. How many of you loved what we shared so far? How many of you love this? Did you love this tonight? Okay. Can I give you a little gift? Go apply it. Do something with it. It'll make a difference. Carla, did you have a question? And Mike's right. Tons of bonuses. You're going to get extra emails with extra bonuses. I didn't even cover all the stuff you guys are going to get. We're also going to give you a call over the next 48 hours. Either Dawn or Mike or John are going to call you and get you all set up with everything you need. And if you're a couple, both you got to sign up individually to do it. That's how it works. So, Carla, what's up? What's your question?
Unmuted.
Oh my God, give it a, she did it. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, Danette.
Okay.
God,
You
Danette. All right.
mentioned. I know it was tough. You had
And then
said
real quick,
that-
the person could do call to action after work, but then you got to ask question, what do you mean by work? Some people work real late. You could do it at 3 a.m. You could do it at night. We have scheduled times we take it. We could take it ever. Danette, you're up.
Are they live? When are the live times? I like to work live, not on a recording.
Okay. So the way it works is it's all hybrid. And what I mean by that is I am live on each course. Each day I jump on Sundays live, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm going to jump on each day. You listen to the material and then I work you through it. So imagine we did it on purpose for a very particular reason to create consistency. It's very, very effective. So you're going to be able to ask me questions live every freaking day. Is that exciting?
Excellent.
Yep.
Thank
So you're going
you.
to listen to material and then I'm going to come on and do it. So the reason we decided to do it that way is you save my best. Instead of burning me out saying the same thing over and over again, you listen and then we talk about it. Do you understand that?
Mhm.
And if you want me fully live the whole time, just call my company. We'll do one-on-one coaching. I'm $30K a month and that's fine. We can do that. Or you
Okay.
just do this for $300.
Okay, thanks.
Are you going to sign up?
Yeah.
Good. Is that a yes or hell yeah? I'm just kidding. You don't say hell, but that's the point. Hell yeah. How come no one
It's
says
a
heaven?
hell yeah.
Why does no one say heaven yeah? Wouldn't it be better heaven yeah? Like nobody says that. We need to start saying heaven yeah. Okay. Okay. Now next question is Carla. Carla, what's up? Carla, you got this great all background and everything. What's up, Carla?
How you going? I was just going to ask a question in relation to your personal use now of the products with your ADHD. Have they helped you, Michael?
I'm working to have extreme ADHD. What I realized is I know they have not. I'm not looking to get rid of my ADHD. I do the things that I love. So all ADD, what I truly believe is it's a dynamic disorder. So I'm super focused. I'm able to do the things that I need to do. But what I will tell you, it's helped me with recovery time with hockey massively. My knees and joints feel incredibly better. I will tell you that absolutely. I will able to tell you I'm more focused. I will tell you that I know it does something with my liver because sometimes you make pee some more, but the point is it does help clean out my liver in a great way. I also know I eat very, very clean. And it's also encouraged me as I eat it to be less desiring any sugar. So that's the impacts I've gotten from it. So take that to the bank.
Okay. And are you using the collagen as well?
Are you?
No, because we can't get it in Australia yet.
I get it. So here's my question. Is me using the product the most important question?
I wanted to know. I wanted to see what you would say, because when people
I think the
ask
collagen's
me-
fantastic. Yes. And the reason I asked the question is the way you ask it is this. Have you found benefits from using the collagen? Is that a better question?
Yep. Okay.
Now, why would I ask that?
So they could give you an answer.
So the answer is yes, I have. If you ask me, am I using it? It's a little more personal, isn't it?
Yes.
Even though I'm a good bloke, you get the deal, correct? That's how you
I
speak to an
do.
Australian. Got it. So let me ask you a question. For those of you in Australia, I work with a lot of people in Australia that come through our programs. And what I love about Australia, if you guys don't know how incredible it is, they may not be able to get the collagen out there, but what's exciting about the people over in Australia, they're even more open-minded than some of us American people. And the reason is they do take personal development and business opportunity very seriously because they don't have as much of it. So if you do have an opportunity ever to recruit in Australia, go for it, because they are truly, I've worked with them over the years. They are very special. Okay. I'm telling you. You guys understand that? They take business opportunity very seriously. So thank you. How many of you understand the question? I just did that on purpose. Do you realize you need to ask people, have you seen benefits in the product? Is a better question than are you using it? How many of you understand that? You guys getting that? Because we want them to focus on the benefits. So thank you. I get time for 2 more questions because I promised I'd be home by 9 o'clock. So 2 more questions. Anybody have it? And again, resultsofmichael.com. You guys excited about this? How many of you are going to be joining me? Raise your hands if you're going to be joining me or you're coming to core. Raise your hands. You're going to be joining us. Raise your hands. Awesome. Excited to work with you. And again, I want to help you guys get where you want to go. I'll take 1 more question and then we'll go from there. Anything else? Maria, anything else you want to say? Questions? You want me to talk about anything?
No, thank you so much. So
This is
far, I
fun.
love it. I would highly, highly recommend Call to Action. There is so much in there, so much you learn. And I love how you say it's like dating, right? So you take Call to Action, you do it for 5 days. If you like the way you teach, some people will connect and some people don't. If you like Michael, then you're just going to love more training with him. So it's a great way to get training in. I think it's really reasonable. I love the 2 times because if you can't get in the morning, you're there at night and
the replay.
And the replay.
Yep. And if like for some reason you need me to write it on notes and send it to a rock through your window, we'll figure it out. Do you know what I'm saying? But like at the end of the day, how many of you realize we need to clean up this mind of ours? Would you guys agree? And it's funny, like the people that need it the most are not the ones that take the program. The ones that are on there are the ones that are already making things happen, that want to make things happen. Like when you go to the park in the morning, the people that are at the park, they're in great shape. They're already running, right? Especially after the 21st. It's the people that don't need to be, that should be at the park running in the morning. They're at Dunkin' Donuts. How many of you understand that? So my competition is not Tony Robbins. I love it when people go see Tony because then they come back and see me or they go see any of these other people. My competition is Vegas. My competition is nonsense you buy. My competition is Netflix. All right. So I'm excited to work with you. Again, resultsofmichael.com. If you need anything, if not, Mike's on our team. You can email him any questions. He'll drop his email in. Everyone say thank you for Mike for talking to Maria and setting this up. Say thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike P. Okay. Maria, I'm excited to see you soon. And let's say either May or December, let's get you out to HIT. That is going to floor you. And you're going to get a chance to be there before someone else that we both know that's a leader in this company. And you're going to give them FOMO. Are you excited about that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want that for you. So I'm excited, everybody. Thank you for letting me go a little long. I'm going to go home and put my little one to bed. It's nothing more important to our kids than being in their lives. How many of you understand that? And there's nothing more important than being an example to those we care about. So go do great things, be an example in this world. Go to resultsofmichael.com, make a decision. I don't need your money, but I am looking for you guys to invest in yourselves at some point this year. If you don't, you don't even have to like me, but if you're not interested in working with me, go find somebody to work with. But if you could find someone as effective as me, I'd like to meet them because I could use some friends. You're just not going to find one. So good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. If you find them, tell me who they are. I want to meet them. All right, guys, take care. Have a great night. Love.
Thank you.
Bye. Do great things. Appreciate you all. Send out the replay. Get it out to your team and family. Bye, everyone. See you.
Bye.
I love you.
I love
Love you guys.